Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today's the 1st of May, so I suppose a new month, a new beginning. So as promised, the next bit I want to start looking at is some of the scenics. Now for all the years I spent in model railway with different bits and pieces, to be honest I've not really done a lot of scenery stuff, so I'm a bit not daunted by it, but I'm a bit like worried about how it's going to look. I've been watching quite a lot of Everard Junction and what he's been doing. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, amongst others, and also Luke Tarrant as well. Been getting some ideas off of him, and so I've ordered some plaster of Paris from my rock moulds. I have tried them before. I've got another layout that some of you might know. It's called Newcastle Haymarket. It's been out to a few shows. It was built by a guy called Ian Futus in about 1993. When I got it, I modified it slightly. So I did actually put some rock moulds on that, but they didn't really come out as I anticipated, or they didn't come out at all like I expected. That could well have been because I hadn't used the right materials, or I don't really know what it was, but yeah, they weren't really no character to them, no edge to them. So I'm going to have another go and see. I don't think you should be put off by disasters, but I can understand that, you know, you do get your confidence knocked a little bit if you try something and it don't work. But yeah, this is something that, you know, standing there or sitting there on the television watching other people do it doesn't improve the layout. As I've said before, I've watched plenty of videos, I've come down here and this hasn't changed, so it doesn't work. Wishing that it's going to. So it's time to get on with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through with you sort of what I'm thinking, and we'll go from there. So what you're looking at, those two black lines in front of you is going to be a level crossing controlled by that signal box. That will take you across to what will be the car park for the station. Now I thought long and hard about what do I want to put in the next bit, because in where all them cable drums are and stuff, there's the canal going in there. So it's a case of what do I want to put behind. But for this layout, it's got as much track on it as what I want. I didn't want a layout that was completely full of track, although there's a fair bit on here. But I think that you need also to do that for point of view of interest of shows and bits and pieces. So I've sort of not going to put any more track down. That's why there isn't any more track to go down. But I don't want to fill it up with like houses and stuff. I want some scenery. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up where all that pile of stuff is there. So if I just move you slightly to there and just zoom in just a bit, sort of out a little bit. I wonder if I can find a pointer, broomstick pointer. Let's see what damage I can do with this. So in somewhere here, so up there and around this area, I'm going to build the car park. And then what I'm thinking is starting the embankment going up there and having an embankment. Also I'm thinking having like a rock face here, sort of up to about that height I assume, and then sort of like a little bit more build up, and then perhaps like a path sort of along the top here. So you've got like a path, and then that will go through sort of right to the end and join in with that tunnel mouth. So sort of keep this whole area scenic rather than sort of putting any sort of housing. So can't go up any higher than the back scene anyway, so you're a bit restricted. And I think if I was to put like a town scene in there, it wouldn't, I don't know if it'd look right, it wouldn't sort of go anywhere. But at least by using sort of, you know, the embankment type style, then you could probably quite easily get away with it sort of like blending in down the bottom there. So that's the plan. Also, bit of a sneak preview, well you can see that, but that's the tunnel mouth that I'm hoping to recreate down that bottom end. Now for those people that know me know that I sort of like things that are sort of a little bit different, a little bit ornate, but I think that tunnel mouth there would look absolutely superb. So that picture has been sort of standing on the back of this layout since I started sort of a couple of years ago. So that is a tunnel mouth that I'm heading with the turrets and stuff on. As I said, for those that know me, they'll sort of think, oh god, not another one. But that's the sort of ornate stuff I like, and I think it's nice sometimes to be a little bit different. But that's going to be a little bit off yet, because I need to work out exactly what that track's going to be, what the curve's going to be. So I can't really put that tunnel mouth in until I've actually got trains running completely off scene. Because the last thing I want to do is build all the tunnel and sort of like get it all in position and then realise the track's got to move a little bit, and then it'll be in the wrong place. So I can sort of head in that direction, and then hopefully by then I could actually better run off scene and make sure that my curves are all right. But anyway, that's all a little bit in the future. So the first thing I need to do before we do anything else is just absolutely clear the top of that layout so as I can see what I'm looking at. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so that's a lot better now. Actually gives me something that I can actually see what I'm looking at. It looks better than all the Yahoo boxes and the rubbish that was there previously. So I suppose there's one way of doing it. This is a block of foam that I've had left over from a building project. At the price of this stuff, I was determined I was going to keep it, and specifically for this. So I suppose I could plonk that there like that, paint it green, and say there's my mountain range, or there's my rock face. Probably wouldn't get invited to too many exhibitions, but be a bit easier. So that don't fit too badly in there actually. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to take the black off the top, and there's like a black off the bottom as well, so that's going to be a bit messy, but that's what you've got to do. And once I've got that, I can start sort of carving it roughly into the shape I want. So that's the next project, is to make some mess. So right, that's cleaned off that stuff. I did record it. Well, I didn't record it. I thought I did, but I didn't. But never mind. So if I take this as sort of the height of the largest rock mould that I'm going to be using, I suppose I could turn it that way actually. So yeah. I'm now thinking the rock face will go in sort of along here and sort of like curve back in towards the tunnel mouth. So, and then that then comes down, and then that then goes into the canal. So when you're looking from the canal, you look over, you look at the rock face, and then that will then curve away and go into sort of the greenland. So I think I need to go up a little bit higher. So I've got these thinner strips as well, so if I was to plonk one of them on top of there, that would probably give me the height I need, because like I said, I can't go up much higher anyway. Not totally sure yet, so that's something. What I also need to do is work out how big I want this car park. So the road will come across to about here anyway, so it can't go. So do I do that as a retaining wall, sort of a bit of a curved retaining wall there, quite high, to form sort of part of the car park. So as the road comes across, come back in a little bit with a curved wall. That might actually look pretty good. and that gives you quite a bit of space for the parking as well. So that's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to bring that across, work out where the other side of that road is, and then I'm going to put a curb wall in there. Okay, so I've dug out a cable drum, so hopefully that will give me a bit of a curve that I can work to. So yeah, so the road will come in, opens out this way, and then if I do that as a curved, if I head for that as the curved wall, and then that will come up to whatever height, same height as what the rock face will, and then that can sort of transcribe between there and the rocks. We'll see what that looks like. I'll get that cut. So I'll try and draw the same curve on here as what I've got on the baseboard. Right, now try and cut that curve somehow. Crikey, look at that where the line is. That is absolutely spot on. I couldn't have got it any better than that if I'd have measured it and tried to get that, so I'm quite pleased with that. So let's see where we go from there. Okay, so I've decided to knock up some moulds so as I can see what they're going to look like across the front. What I don't want to do is start carving that and then wish I hadn't, because it don't fit right. So if I knock up one each of my moulds, and then that'll give me something to work to, and then I'll have a better idea where I want to take the chamfer off the top, or if I want to add a bit more on. So here goes. Don't know how much of this I'm going to need, so let's see. Okay, so I've had a bit of a tidy up now. Next thing I need to do is cut this end where I want to end it on the baseboard joint, which is through there, and then I'm going to have to bring it in probably 2mm, because there's put like a piece of ply or something there to protect it. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to chop that off. Okay, so the next bit I want to do is this bit around here. Now I know I said that I couldn't get too carried away with that because I didn't know what was going on with the tunnel map, etc, etc. So probably the easiest thing for me to do was just to rough it out that shape, and just sort of place it there and then leave it, and then if it has to be modified later I can, but at least I'll get a feel for what it's going to look like as a whole, rather than just leaving it empty and then you come along here and you think, oh, what am I going to do? So I'm going to try and cut this like wedge shaped piece in here, so that should be fun. Right, it's a little bit smaller now, so if I put that in there, how far is that over here? Okay, so that took just about as long to clean up as it did to make the mess. So that's basically it now. So we've got the, I'm just going to take you off the tripod. So right, basically now when you come round, that is the postal depot. I'm going to do a bit more of the embankment the other side of that, which will then drop down into a couple of retaining walls. So those two retaining walls you can see, I'm going to make them somewhat bigger, but that'll finish up round, and that'll go round the Red Star depot, and then that is the embankment, or not the embankment but the edge of it as it goes round. So that will follow round all the way round to the level crossing basically, and then that's kind of looking at it from that direction. So I will put the rock faces on there, and then sort of once I've got them on, I can mould or manipulate the top, I suppose is a word, to get some sort of like fall on it, and then I'll just put like a fence line up there eventually as well, so it'll all sort of shape down in. But they're sort of like the basis of the basic shapes of what I'm looking for now. So yeah, as I said, there'll be another lump of that. I might even bring that tunnel mouth out further yet, so as it's actually closer to here, so it sort of comes out sort of like there somewhere, and kind of set it in to give it sort of to try and sort of get some more relief, as it were, in this area. Don't quite know how that'll work, but that's probably what I'll do. So that's the start of the scenery. Okay, so I'm just having a little bit of a play with ideas for what to do with this piece. This piece here is going to be going in there roughly, so I don't want it overhanging the parcels depot, but I wanted something featurish to look at. So what I'm thinking is I've got this piece here that is like, that's quite like there's quite a lot of overhang on that, but that's why I've cut back into the model, or into the foam. So I'm going to mount that there, so as the actual overhang, even though there's a lot of it, doesn't actually come out much past sort of the end, because they wouldn't have built that building with that, because that could be dangerous. So if it was like this, I figured that that's probably still part of that, so the chances of a fall is less. So that's my thinking on that, because you do see them hanging over somehow. Plus the fact that if that was to fall, it would fall into like waste ground rather than on top of the building. Then I was going to put this piece here, this piece here, I was going to put over there like that, sort of fits in there quite snugly. And then that effectively gives you, I don't know if you can see that, sort of a bit of a shelf with a hole. So again, I think you do see that sort of thing, like where there's been borings and bits and pieces gone on. Plus that, bearing in mind that that's going to be there anyway, so that's going to be there. So you probably won't see that hole. So that'll be somewhere like that. And that's what I was saying about the overhang. It's not that much that it's actually, if it was to fall, it wouldn't really fall into the, where the postal depot is. It might have to just sort of come off a bit. Oh, there's a bit fell and it didn't go into the postal depot, so it shows it. So that's my thinking. Okay, so next thing I want to do is get some base ground cover on here. So I'm going to give this a quick hoover up because of the mess I've made, and then I'm going to sort of paint it brown, get me brown track cover on, or like ground cover on, only to about there across. So it'll be this area, and then once I've got that done, I can start mixing the tones up a little bit and start doing some ballasting and getting the rest of my buffers and that fitted. So first thing to do is just give it a quick hoover. Right, next thing to do is make some of this wood disappear. And for that I'm just going to use some sort of like cheapo artist paint. It's just an acrylic paint, raw umber. So that'll do just for the basic coat. I think this stuff was only, I think it was, oh yeah, 14 quid. But there's quite a lot in there and it covers well. I've had it ages, had it for another project that I don't think I ever did. So, oh, God, needs a shake, needs something. Okay, right, so a good stir, it's a good stir, so hopefully it should be a bit better this time. That's better. Okay, so I've moved you to a slightly higher or different elevation, so hopefully I won't get in the way quite so much. Be interesting to see what our great leader's going to say Sunday about the lockdown and easing restrictions. Sort of see what he says. As for myself, I've been really busy down here. It probably don't look like I've done an awful lot, but that is a lot of hours spent just in what you can see there. I suppose really to say that if I didn't have this layout, I think I would have been pulling my hair out by now and going mad. So yeah, this has been a godsend really doing this over these last few weeks, and yeah, I can't fault it. So what have I done? Well, I've ballasted the Red Star depot, the 2 concrete sidings, so they're to sort of like represent track work that's not been down overly long, probably a couple of years at the most. So that's why I sort of didn't go any more on the weathering. It's very easy to sort of get a bit carried away, but I've sort of done slightly darker areas where the locos would sort of stop, and then a little bit of like trailing between the sleepers. But I was, you sometimes it's quite easy with the airbrush. You do tend to sort of think to yourself, I'll just do a little bit more. But it's not really good, because it's easy to add a little tiny bit more if you need it, but you can't take it away. Once it's down, it's down, and that's the end of it. So it's where you sort of like, even if it means that you go back to it sort of a month's time with a little bit more, it's better to do that than in a month's time go, crikey, I wish I hadn't done that. So yeah, just done a sort of a really sort of light tinge over the top of it, just to sort of break it up a little bit. And looking at it from where I'm standing, which is almost the same view as what you've got, it does actually look quite nice. So I'm pleased with that. The other 4 roads, the actual engineers shared roads, or the engineers roads, I've done the base colour of them. So that's just sort of like, 1, to get rid of the plastic look sleepers, and 2, because they're going to be, them sidings would have been there for a long time, they'd be unloved. So I wanted them to look more grimy, not overgrown as such, but sort of like you would in a yard. So I'm going to sort of have some fun with them. Next job to do is ballast them, and then once they're ballasted, I can then look at maybe adding a bit of static grass, or sort of some of the other foliage and bits and pieces, which I've not actually done quite a lot of. I've never ever done static grass ever, but I've been told it's quite easy. And I've watched plenty of people doing it on YouTube, and it does seem to come out really well. So I think that quite looking forward to that. I was watching one of the other YouTubers. I think it's Dave over at Daisley. It's a layout, or it's a 1960s layout based over in sort of like the Norwich area, and he was scratch building with 2mm card, and he made a really nice job of it. So I went out and bought some, and that's what you can see with the upstands in the Red Star depot. I've also ordered some stuff from Scale Model Sceneries. I've ordered some palisade fencing and some other bits and pieces. I suppose I put quite a fairly big order together over a couple of days. I'm waiting for that to arrive now. So once that's arrived, I can get on and add the piers, my palisade fencing and bits and pieces, so as I can complete that, and that should look quite nice once it's finished. There's a bit of a mountain type thing, or rock face going in behind there, which you will see. And there's a bit of a scene as well that I want to build into that. So that's the idea of the palisade fencing, was so you could see what's going on behind the fence. So that was the thinking behind that, rather than just having a wall. Because what I was going to originally do was just put like a 6-foot wall all around it. Then I thought, I wanted to sort of see what was going on behind. So that was the thinking behind that. So yeah, that is about as far as I've got. And once I've got some more, I'll come back to you. But enjoy the video, and keep well and keep safe. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.